While President Joe Biden and some other prominent Democrats have been calling for unity after the most contentious election in modern history, my first guest says unity isn't what they want at all. They want total control over all of our lives. I recently sat down with Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, who's taken on the radical agenda that he says the left is forcing on America, plus the unprecedented power grab by big tech. Senator, I was going to ask, what is that unusual scene on your tie? I realize it's a target, because I think you've been wearing a target on your chest for quite some time. You may be the most interesting guy in Washington right now. It seems like everybody's out to cancel Josh Hawley. What the heck is going on?
Well, you know, I think, Mike, it's just a question of not being willing on my part to bow to the liberal mob, to the woke mob that wants all dissent silenced. You know, we're hearing a lot from President Biden and the Democrats about unity and healing. They don't want unity and healing. That's not what they're doing. They want total control, and they want opposition to be silenced. And I, for one, am just not going to agree to be canceled. I'm not going to bow down to the woke mob. I'm going to stand up, represent the people of my state, the state of Missouri. I'm going to stand up for the values and principles that we believe in, and I'm not going to kowtow to the mob.
Roll this back to January 20th, Inauguration Day. There was really a sense, or maybe go back to January 6th, there was a sense in which people said you were trying to overturn the election. If they'd listened carefully, they would know that you, Senator Cruz, and others were not trying to overturn an election, but to simply audit the election to see, was everything on the up and up? Why is it that simple message couldn't get out more clearly?
Well, because I think the liberal media and, again, the leftist mob didn't want it to get out. I mean, they know now that they're telling lies. When they say that Ted Cruz and I and the House Republicans wanted to overturn an election, they know that's a lie. It's a total lie.
Yeah.
What we asked for was a congressional investigation. What I asked for was reform going forward, Mike. I said that I wanted to force a debate about election integrity going forward, because we do need reforms. We need to do things like ban third-party ballot harvesting, for instance, and I've introduced legislation to do that, but the left doesn't want to hear any of that. What they want now is a pretext to try to silence people who stand up to them. And that's what they're trying to do to me, but I'm not going to go along with it. You know, it only works if you agree to go along with it, if you agree to be silent, and I'm not going to be silent.
And I think it's very important, Senator, that you have fought back, because Republicans traditionally sometimes just roll over when the attacks come. And as a result, we just keep getting run over. I think if there's one thing President Trump taught us was fight back. Now, maybe he didn't always do it in the most genteel way, but the fact is he didn't roll over. You had your book canceled by Simon & Schuster that was about to come out. It's that kind of thing, the cancel culture, that is stunning, and quite frankly, it's a little bit frightening. If big companies, big tech, can just say, we don't like what Senator Hawley, an elected senator, is saying, we're going to shut him off social media. We're going to shut down his publishing. I do think you got another contract on your book, so it still will come out. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, it's called The Tyranny of Big Tech, and the irony of it is the book is all about what tech and the big corporate monopolies have been trying to do the last few weeks, trying to silence dissent, trying to tell conservatives they're not welcome in the public square. And of course, they've been trying to do this to people of faith and pro-life advocates for years. We've seen social media in particular go after pro-life groups, go after those who stand for their faith, want to share it online, want to share it in the public square. So right now, the attacks are just intensifying. And that's why, you know, you talked about fighting back. It's important for those of us who have a public trust and those of us who have a voice and have been elected to stand up on behalf of our constituents and the people we represent, because if we don't, then the attacks will just intensify and the repression will just intensify.
One of the most repulsive things was when a group of, and I'll call them anarchists, went to your home when your wife was there with a newborn baby. You weren't even at home. They banged on the door. They yelled and screamed, doing everything they can to intimidate you, your family. I mean, those are the kind of things that we haven't seen in America forever. Maybe, what do we do with this kind of nonsense?
Well, I think that as conservatives, we have to say, listen, you can disagree with people. We obviously have deep disagreements with those on the left who are wanting to cancel the First Amendment. but we resolve our disagreements in a democratic manner. That's why open democratic debate's so important. But yeah, this Antifa-affiliated group that came to our house and confronted my wife with our newborn, as you say, when I wasn't even there, that's wrong. And the left, they really know it's wrong, but they're willing to do anything to try and intimidate and terrorize and, again, shut down opposition. Now, my wife's a pretty tough customer, so she wasn't intimidated. And I'm not going to be intimidated, but I just think of the many folks in my home state, Mike, in Missouri who are being boycotted right now, maybe people who contributed to Republican candidates or maybe people who donated to pro-life groups. They're on the left's boycott list. They're getting harassed. This is not the American way to resolve disagreements. And we've got to take a stand and say, no, we're going to defend the First Amendment.
Big tech has been pretty brutal. They've shut down not just the president, but they took out an entire platform like Parler. It's clear that they're putting their big foot on everything. I hear people in Congress saying we're going to have hearings, we're going to do something. But we've been having lots of hearings. Give me some comfort that something's actually going to happen, because, be honest with you, I'm a little discouraged that Congress is going to keep doing hearings, but nothing is going to happen.
Yeah, well, I'm discouraged too. I mean, I've been in the Senate now, I guess it's been 2 years, and it's been 2 years of a lot of talk in D.C. about tech and a lot of no action. Here's the most important thing I think has happened in the last couple of years, and that is the Justice Department launched an antitrust suit against Google. That is hugely, hugely significant. There needs to be one against Facebook as well. These big tech companies need to be broken up. I mean, monopoly power, our founders didn't believe in monopoly power. They didn't believe in concentrated power. It's always dangerous. And now the tech companies are showing us why. They're trying to control our speech. They're trying to silence conservatives. They're trying to silence people of faith. We have got to stand up to that. I think the most important thing we can do is break them up and stop the government giveaways to these big tech companies.
Couldn't agree more. Senator Josh Hawley, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, you can keep up with Senator Josh Hawley on social media, for the moment anyway, at SEN, like Sen, Hawley Press.